Welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game while criticizing current players. Today, we are talking about Survivor 49, Episode 10, Huge Dose of Bamboozle. Great name. I love that. I am one of your co-hosts, Josh Wessler, joined today by one other co-host, Ryan Stacy. Ryan, how's it going on these big open airwaves today without our third co-host?
Yep, no Derek tonight. It's just Josh and I for the Thanksgiving special. Derek is currently braving dangerous roads, driving to visit family. We had a big storm pass up our way, and it was a mess. So, like I drove down today too, and I saw like six cars in the ditch, and a semi truck like flipped over. It was a good time.
Yeah, I saw a couple of jackknife semis on the news. So glad you made it safely.
Yep. So hopefully, I know Derek's still on the road right now as we speak. So hopefully he's doing okay.
Maybe he's just, he has Survivor up on his dashboard. And that's the safest way to drive, I think.
One can only hope. Always Survivor and drive. Okay, but yes, episode 10, I had a great time. This is a great episode.
This is a god tier episode of Survivor.
This was a lot of fun.
I am going that far in saying that, and it is the best episode of the season.
Would you say it's a Riz God tier?
I think it is. It is a Riz God tier of Survivor, and that is okay. I
felt terrible
to say that.
No, I didn't like saying it, but it was a good joke. I don't know if I'll go God tier, but it was a lot of fun. This is a blast of an episode. So I'd probably say this is my favorite of the season 2. It's definitely up there.
I like to gauge how good an episode is by whether or not my butt leaves my seat. And it left its seat today. I jumped up, I shouted, I said yes, I clapped. And mind you, I am alone in my apartment. I am not doing this in front of other people. I am not performing. I am not, feeding off of other people's energy. It is just me here. I was that just I don't know. It's not like I was excited to see this person go home that went home tonight, but 49 has in general been a bit of a disappointment for me. It's been either just boring or I haven't really liked it a whole lot. And this episode, I think, has done as much as it can to redeem the season so far. It has me engaged once again with this season of Survivor, which I think is really needed for the point in the season that we're at, going into now final 7. So I am now excited again to see where this goes.
I didn't jump off the couch in excitement, but I did lean forward off the couch. The only time I've jumped off the couch in excitement this season was the time Shannon got voted out, which was just that was good. So yeah, exciting episode. Lots to talk about. Derek missed out for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, well, we'll have lots to talk about. Let's get into spoilers.
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1. We're going to lose one of our wild cards tonight. Juwan goes home. Yeah, pretty shocking, pretty exciting. Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Pretty shocking for you. I predicted this. I said Juwan was going next on the last episode. So thank you very much. I will use this moment to just brag a little bit, and then we can move on.
Yeah, I tried to call my shot with the knowledge is power thing, and that did not happen, which, that's fine.
Honestly, that's just as shocking. The fact that it wasn't played was also shocking.
And maybe we'll get lucky and knowledge is power won't get played. That'd be ideal.
Maybe, there's only one known advantage now left in the game. We found out what the big reaction was from next time on Survivor last time. And, it was just as surprising for me, at least.
Yep. Well, should we get into the episode proper?
Let's do it.
Okay. So after the last vote, Christina and Steven were left out. They're on the bottom. So Rizzo, Sophie B, Sophie S, and Savannah, they're kind of the top dogs with Juwan and Sage kind of there too. And between Steven and Christina, Steven's the next obvious pick. So Steven's definitely going home tonight.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Sage is going to talk to Juwan. And basically Sage tells him that Steven told her about Christina's idol. So now Christina's idol, the knowledge of that has passed to Steven, to Sage, to Juwan. This is why you don't find public idols and you don't tell anybody about your idols.
Even if you're, promise yourself like, all right, I just need to tell this one person, build trust with them. Doesn't mean that they're your closest ally. And even if they're not going to run off and tell people right away, 3, 4, 5 votes down the line, they might. The game can change fast and their needs can shift fast. So be aware of that.
It's very much a case of what have you done for me lately?
I think the only time that you should share information with someone is if you're in a desperate spot and you really need to make bonds. Like if
Yeah.
you're dead last, sure, throw
Yep.
that Hail Mary out there. Otherwise, wait until like the vote, the day of the vote, or that episode, to share this information and do something with it.
Yep. Agreed. So Steven suspects that he's the target. Fair. So his goal is to try and get Christina to play the idol on him, and maybe they can knock Savannah out. You got halfway there, Steven.
Good job.
At the reward challenge, Christina's going to have a breakdown. She was left out of the vote. That hit her hard, and she's also been dealing with the passing of her mother, which was 3 years prior, so she has a big emotional moment at the challenge. During the challenge, it was pretty cool. She like falls off the balance beam, but like hangs on underneath it and manages to crawl and climb her way back up and stay on the balance beam. They don't win the challenge, but that was because of Rizzo, not her. And yeah, that was pretty cool that she pulled herself up, I gotta say.
Yeah, I was surprised that after the challenge, Jeff didn't call this out more. Just like, hey, I know you didn't win, but that was an amazing effort, blah, blah, blah. You see these things happen every once in a while in Survivor, but it's not very frequent. And I was usually with a balance beam like this, if your feet touch the ground or touch the water, usually you're out. But they must have just said, hey, as long as you're on, if you're the cat in the hang in there poster, all you have to do is hang on and make it to the end, and you'll be good.
Yeah, I'm okay with that if we have like wonky balance beams, and multiple ways to get over. I'm fine with stuff like that.
Yeah,
and options are fun. Sage, Sophie B, Sophie S, and Steven are going to win reward. And while they're on reward, Sage is going to suggest to Sophie S that maybe they turn on Savannah. Because Sage has wanted Savannah out forever, but Savannah keeps winning immunity. Really wants to break up the trio. And I get wanting to break up the trio, but I think Savannah's the least threatening of the trio.
Yeah, she's getting a little bit of tunnel vision, it seems like here. It's almost like there's and it doesn't help that Juwan also has beef with Savannah, so I think that the two of them really feed off each other with wanting her to be target number one, and maybe in their eyes she is, maybe in their eyes she's the biggest target in this game, biggest threat to win the game, but in our eyes, in our
correct ass eyes,
stank downs, rank downs, and even the lank downs, none of us think that is the case.
Yeah.
So maybe you should take a step back and reevaluate from other people's perspectives. Okay, who's the actual number one threat? Is it Savannah, or should we go after, Sophie or Rizzo instead?
Because Savannah doesn't seem to have the best social game, and remember, that's the most important factor. So that's why, Savannah may be good at the challenges, she may be sharp strategically, but she doesn't have the social game all the way. Sophie B and Rizzo, they do.
Mm-hmm.
So Juwan and Sage, they're brought into this potential Steven vote. They don't want to actually do this. They want Savannah out, but they're gonna play along. And their plan is to get Steven, Sophie S, and Christina on board to take out Savannah. But Sophie S kind of ends up in the middle here. She has the trio on one side. She's got the other four on the other. So Sophie S is kind of the swing, which is good for her.
How much do you want to assume that everything's going to work out with this one person who could swing either way? We're in a tough part of the game right now. You have to trust people if you're going to make these types of moves. But don't always assume. Don't always assume that you got someone.
Yeah, they make the mistake of assuming they have Sophie S, which blows up their game. The problem Sophie S is going to run into is she felt burned by Christina and Steven in the past because when they did the split tribal council, they seemed disappointed that she came back and not MC. So there isn't... Sophie S is a decent reason to not want to work with those two. Go to the other side where she is valued and more respected, I guess. They seem, like Savannah and Sophie B, they seem excited to have her on their side.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably the key factor to why Sophie S goes with them. We'll talk more about it later, whether or not it was the right move, but that's the why. At the immunity challenge, Jeff is going to offer a bag of rice. If 3 people sit out, no one takes it. Yada, yada, yada. Sophie S wins immunity. So not only she's the swing vote, she's won immunity, which means she can be the swing vote and not be careful. She can kind of just do whatever.
We've seen how many times once people win immunity, they get a little bit more confident and they try to make a little bit bigger move. So you got to guess that that's what's going to happen here. She's going to do something that's in her best interest to, put her stamp on the game a little bit more. Back to the challenge just for a moment. This is the how many seasons in a row that we haven't had a successful, trade or negotiation, and it's just dead at this point, it seems like. So I don't know about you, but I would rather them come back and do like this sit out instead. Like, hey, a temptation. We have this food. Anyone who feels comfortable, anyone who wants this food, maybe do it more than 7 days before the end. Anyone can sit out if they want to. I think you'd get a couple more takers, especially if it's a blind like rock showing of who wants to participate. I think that would be better than this rice negotiation.
Something more than rice. Like, you know, you can go 7 days, you'll be fine. But some protein, for example, that has benefits.
Especially if you feel safe. You know, how many times have we talked about like, you know, not coconut chop, but still, you know, coconut chop a little bit.
Coconut chopping yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I'm kind of tired of the rice negotiation. Like, unless Jeff is stabbing the bag of rice, like, who cares? Like, we peaked there. We're good.
We'll never get that back.
No. That'll never be topped. That is an all-time Jeff moment. And I don't know. It seems like it was a one and done for him. So, yeah, with Sophie S having immunity, we're back to where we were. Steven, Sophie S, those are the two main targets. We have the trio on one side. We have Katrina, Steven, Sage, and Juwan on the other with Sophie S in the middle. Sage is going to try and win Sophie S over a little bit more by telling her she thinks Christina has the idol. Because what Sage wants to do tonight is get Christina to play her idol, Riz to play his idol, and knock Savannah out of the game. 1 out of 3.
Yeah, the one that probably to her matters the least.
Yeah.
You know, the one that maybe could be used instead of her, you know, wanting to flush it. You could maybe use this in a way, you know, if you're a little bit more tactful about it. So, interesting thought. Don't try to do just too much all in one vote.
Yeah, especially because you want Christina on your side. Don't create suspicion between like Sophie S and Christina, I would say. Because if you want both of those people on your side, this is not the time to try and cause a rift between them. So I think this is misguided on Sage's part.
Yeah, don't get cute.
Yeah.
This is a very important vote.
Yes.
So make sure that, you know, the right person goes home first. And if other things play out, sure. Great. Yeah. That's awesome.
Sophie S is going to go and tell on Sage and Juwan. She tells the others that Sage and Juwan are flipping and targeting Savannah. So Rizzo might need to play his idol on Savannah to save her. And then she also tells them that she suspects Christina has the idol. So, goodbye, Juwan and Sage's plan. That whole thing just got blown up.
Yeah, and this is where it's obvious that Sophie isn't really straddling both sides, deciding where she's going to go. She's given up this information, so she is committing to it. And, you know, the mystery now is whether or not, you know, idols come into play, essentially.
And for her, she's safe.
Yeah, who cares?
Christina wants to put a backup vote on Rizzo just in case. So if they think they have 5 votes up against 3, yeah, you can do that. But unfortunately for her, they don't have that. But she wants to pretend like, yeah, we don't have a plan. I'm on the bottom, and so she goes to Savannah, who knows what's up. And Christina's like, oh yeah, I you know, my vote's up for sale. Like, what do you want to do? And Savannah just straight up asks like, who are you voting for? Who are you voting for? And Christina like folds immediately. I haven't seen someone fill a line this bad since Hannah Shapiro. It was real bad.
Well, and it's great because like, I mean, kind of like Hannah, I don't think Christina really, you know, we're 18 days in, I think Jeff said.
19.
19. I don't think Christina has really played this game to, you know, its fullest extent.
Yeah.
You know, I think she's checking a lot of boxes. She, you know, she's close and has an alliance with Steven. She has an idol. So like, I don't want to say that she's not like fully playing this game, but the hardcore strategy side, I don't think she's really been a part of. And a lot of people play that differently. And Savannah is the type of person who is like, you know, say what you want. I know you have your opinions about Savannah, but she is really good at identifying people's cues clearly, based off of what she said at Tribal. And if she, you know, for better or worse, if she doesn't care about the way that she comes off to you, she is going to figure out what your intentions are. And Christina is just completely blindsided by this changeup because she's used to like someone like Steven or Juwan, maybe like just being super nice and just like accommodating to Christina's personality and her communication style. So now that Savannah's coming at her and is essentially just bulldozing through to try to get information, Christina doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, she's used to softball strategizing, and this is some hardball.
Mhm.
Not necessarily great on Savannah's part, because again, she comes off as a bit mean. But Christina, all you have to say is when Savannah's like, who are you voting for? And Christina's like, who do you want? All you have to say is, who do you want me to vote for? Tell me who do you want me to vote for? That's it. That's all you got to do. And yeah, Savannah knows, but that's the lie you could tell. Easy.
Yeah, and it's something that you have to just be ready for, because you have to be good at just going just directly to that in the moment. It's not going to be easy either.
That is one you should save in the chamber as a go-to defensive lie. Who are you voting for? Who do you want me to vote for? I am up for grabs. You tell me what to do. And that can be a complete lie. Do whatever you will after that. But that is a good, just in the pocket, ready to go lie to use. Savannah's going to go over to Juwan next and basically tease him. Like, oh, hey, I'm vulnerable tonight. You better not betray me, Juwan. And the whole time she knows. This
is great. It helps so much that it doesn't matter just because it's Savannah. She will play with her food because that's the type of person she is.
Very funny. But she's going to use her extra vote. They have four on the other side. Boom, that's 5. So maths. But Savannah and Sophie B are going to talk. And they're like, maybe instead of Steven, we should turn on the flippers, Juwan or Sage. Okay, that's a conversation. And Sophie S gets involved too. And so, yeah, it's just a debate between those three. Steven is probably the biggest threat, but Christina might play a possible idol on him. Sage and Juwan are wild cards. So, there's things to consider here. I do think Steven is the biggest threat, and probably on paper, he should be the target. But there is that little worry about Christina playing the idol on him. Mm-hmm. So I'll get a little bit more into it when we talk about if this was the right move or not. But yeah, there's my little tease there.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to, again, not to get into it too much, but I think if you are in Savannah and Rizzo's shoes here, I think it really comes down to what does Sophie want. She's the one who's flipping. She's the one who's giving you information. Even if this means that you don't want to go with Steven just because you're worried about the idol, this needs to be, I think this needs to be Sophie's choice. So
that's hilarious. A real Sophie's
didn't even
choice.
try to do that.
Yeah, I think you're right, because she's the key factor here. She's got to go with you. Who do you want? Boom, easy, done. And maybe that's what happened. We don't know. But we're gonna go to Tribal Council, and man, this is fun. Lots of showboating, I think, tonight. Lots of theater.
So much theater. When Savannah's looking over at Juwan, and Juwan's just trying to be coy, but again, once, like we've said multiple times, Juwan's not a good Survivor player. So like him trying to talk vaguely when you know what's going on is just the most obvious thing possible. So, and Savannah just next to him. This was fantastic.
Yeah. And, I appreciate Rizzo and Savannah being excited to be at Tribal Council. Like, I don't know. That's just refreshing. Rizzo's growing on me. I hate when he uses Riz God. It is so cringe. But yeah, I do appreciate his enthusiasm.
Yeah, this 2 or 3 episode run from him is really it's flipped me. It's fine. I can be wrong. I hated him at the beginning. I'm okay being wrong.
Yep. There's people I've met who I didn't like when I first met them, and they became my friends. I'm not gonna name names.
Josh.
But Christina is going to end up playing her idol on Steven in a big bold move. It's gonna end up being a complete waste because Steven gets 0 votes.
Yeah.
Bummer.
So, before we move on, because I think the big decision here, there's 2, obviously. For Christina, do you play your idol or not? All signs point to, the vote going towards Steven. So I don't hate that she plays the idol here. She's in dead last. She needs to make some sort of move. And this could be the one. This could be the one that saves your teammate. I know that he could beat you in the end, but it can still be a big move to set you up for the final 7, for the last 7 days of the game, where you can you have time. You got to do a lot, but you have time to change how you're viewed for this season.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. Like, she needs to do something.
Mm-hmm. The second one is Sophie. Do you have to play Knowledge's Power after the vote, or can it be before the vote? Like,
I guess I don't 100% know. I thought it was before the votes. Like, well, hey, when it's time to vote, and then you play it then. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure about it, because I like to try and block Knowledge's Power out of my brain. So yeah, she doesn't go for it. She doesn't take it. I guess she didn't need to, and she can hold on to it for a later date. Maybe use it against Rizzo at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, because essentially now that you are past having this knowledge, like, she doesn't know for sure, in her defense. She doesn't know 100% for sure that Christina has the idol. But now, after this episode, Rizzo's idol's the only known advantage in the game. So, what's the plan for Knowledge's power? Assuming you want to try to use it.
Do you flip on Rizzo?
Do you flip on Rizzo?
It might be a good move for next time, because I have to not to spoil my rank downs, but I still have Rizzo at number 1 spot. If Rizzo gets the end, I think he wins against anybody.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get into mine once we get to that segment. But for her, like, I keep flipping back and forth on whether this was good for her or not. Just because, let's say she does play Knowledge's power, she takes Christina's idol. Again, we're at final 7. She makes it through, which I'm guessing she wouldn't play it in this instance and would just bank it. And everything else the same. Rizzo still has his idol. They're a pretty dominant group. Can that get you to the end? Or are you just going to be such a big threat now that everyone's going to be coming for you at 7, 6, 5? I don't know. That's a really hard thing to try and balance right now.
And another thing, you shouldn't use an advantage just to use it. Like, yeah, it's cool and flashy for the jury, but if it fails, that's not great. You want to use it right, and you want to use it to help you long-term, not just short-term. So there might not be a good time for Sophie to use it, and that's fine. That there's sometimes the advantage will not help you, and the wisdom is to know when that is.
Yeah, so now at this point, assuming she's not going to have knowledge of another idol that comes into this game, maybe she just waits it out. If Rizzo plays his idol, whatever. But, let's say we get to final 5. She could use it at final 5. Take his idol, play it on yourself. Even if Rizzo doesn't go home, at least you have that little bit of a flash there.
Sure. That works for me. But yeah, I'm okay with her not playing it because A, she didn't know for sure, and B, Christina was not their target. So if she plays it, oh well. Steven wasn't their target either, so they went the other direction. So and somebody else could find it because that's been played, and then if she finds out who has it, she can take it that way.
Yeah, and I hate to keep talking about Knowledge's power, but one last thing, what she should now do is maybe just try to get Rizzo not to play his idol as long as possible, because then it's still in the game and she still knows it. So the next 2 or 3 votes, up until, I'm guessing that it expires at 5, but try to get through 7, try to get through 6 so that you can steal it at 5 if you really want to, just to prove a point.
Rizzo is going to stand up and play his idol, and he's going to go to the front of the class and talk to everybody and make a big show about, like, oh, I'm going to do this, I got to beat the right move, and I'm playing this for Savannah. But it's not a real idol. It's fake. Rizzo just did this to get reactions from people. He wanted to read faces and just see, which is something Tony Vlachos did. A move I like a lot. So yeah, if you go up to the front and look at everybody's faces, that's a good thing if you can pull that off.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on this. Just after the episode, I was trying to figure out, who played well and who didn't. Because what do you gain from this? I feel like he already knows what way the vote is going. I think he already knows that he has the numbers because of the extra vote. He was right in fake playing it for Savannah.
Savannah was the target.
And you could see on, Sage's face that this was the right call on his part. But does this get you anywhere?
Yes.
Does this get you points for the jury? Or does it look like you're showboating and you're kind of just being a little bit of a D-bag?
Nope, not at all. This is what this gets you. So he read on Sage's face, like, oh no, crestfallen, this plan's not going to work. Okay, so now he knows Savannah is the target. If it had gone the other way, if people were grinning, he would know maybe I'm the target and he can play it on himself.
Even if you know that it doesn't matter if you're the target or Savannah?
You don't know for sure that your plan is going to work. So if people are grinning that you played this idol on Savannah, you could assume maybe Rizzo is the target and then he can play his idol on himself if he chooses to. But with Sage's face, he knows Savannah was the target, so he can hold on to his idol, and yeah, he risks Savannah going home, but it's not him.
True. Yeah, I guess I was just working on the assumption that he knew that they were going to, like, it was going to work out in his favor no matter what, just because they had the extra vote and they had Sophie on their side. But maybe he pays attention to Sophie's face to see if she reacts, just in case she's not actually with them.
Why not? But yeah, it's a fake idol. So he doesn't play his real idol. So he holds on to that again. What a mad lad.
Wild.
So it's going to be 5 votes for Jawan, the 4 plus Savannah's extra vote, 3 votes for Savannah, and then Christina's backup vote on Rizzo. So Jawan goes home, and he's so flustered by his blind stat that he actually takes Rizzo's torch instead of his own.
Hilarious.
Yep.
He took my torch.
Oh, that was my torch.
Come on, man. Uh,
So we lose Juwan.
yeah, we lose Juwan, and I was gonna say I don't hate Christina's move to throw like the one hinky vote just in case something happens. But at the same time, maybe look to see that it's 8 total people playing right now, and it could be a split, and that one vote could really matter. So I don't know.
She must have really thought they had Sophie S.
Yeah. As did everyone else.
Yep, Sophie S is good. So was this the right move? I still think Steven is the biggest threat, but again, there was that idle risk. So I do get it. And on the flip side, yeah, Sage and Juwan are not as big of threats, but they are a duo. They are chaotic. And they have done a lot of stuff. So there is some wisdom in removing a wild card from the picture. And Juwan is absolutely a wild card.
Yeah. I think it's the right move to go for one of them. I think that Sage is the bigger threat between her and Juwan. So I said no, just because I think that it should have been Sage here. Now, again, Sophie's choice. If she wants Juwan to go between those two, I'm perfectly fine writing Juwan's name down if I'm the other 3. That is the most important thing, is to break them up and for the vote to go your way. So who cares, especially for Sophie and Rizzo, Sophie B and Rizzo, just because I think that they can beat essentially everyone else in the game. Savannah, it might matter more if Juwan's in the game for you, but I think that she, not to spoil my rank downs, not to spoil my jank downs, but I think that Savannah can beat Sage, and at least she has, a fighting chance at Final Tribal Council. So I think it works either way for her.
Savannah can still win. But yeah, I do think Sage is probably the better move, but I get it. So I'm fine with it. It break this duo up. It's all good.
Mm-hmm. And I completely agree with not going for Steven.
This may not have been the optimal move, but it was still a good move. What did social media have to say?
Yeah, I would say about combining them and doing the math in my head, I would say about 75% of people said that no, the wrong person went home here.
Interesting.
So, maybe they thought it should have been Steven, or maybe they thought it should have been Sage, or who knows, maybe they don't like Savannah.
Yeah. I buy all of those options. Let's get into best and worst player of the episode. Josh, who do you got?
I was debating around here. For me, it was between Sophie S, and Rizzo, just because I thought that this was, a good move for both of them. Rizzo had a little bit of the showboatiness. I was on the fence of whether or not I like that or not. And also Sophie won immunity to help her cause. So I think it's a toss-up between the two of them. I'm going to lean Rizzo here. The tiebreak for me essentially is that Sophie is also in danger still of losing to potentially all 3 of these people that she aligned with. So she has to be careful here. She has to make her moves in order to win the game. But I really like her thought process between, I should probably keep Savannah in as, a little bit of a meat shield. We didn't really bring that up, but she brought that up in confessional. And I think that's a good mindset for her to have as well. But talking through it with Rizzo's fake idol play, I think that was good to get information and be able to still hold on to it going into Final 7. He's been able to drag this thing out much longer than I would have been able to.
Yep.
So I'll give it to Rizzo.
Yeah, I agree for everything you said. I have Rizzo as well. For worst player, I'm going to go with Christina for lying so poorly to Savannah. She technically misplayed her idol. I don't really blame her for that, but she did end up on the wrong side of the vote. So I'm going to go with Christina.
Funny. Yeah, I had Sage here, and I had Christina as a dishonorable mention just for all of what you said. I'm kind of grading Christina a little bit less. I'm not pulling a Derek here and I'm not really grading her anymore. I'm still grading her. And if she would, if there wasn't any other option, I would give it to Christina. But I think Sage just didn't have in general, a good episode here. Nothing went her way. She lost her closest ally. The one conversation that she tried to have about getting Savannah out at the reward challenge, that person is the one who ended up being the one to flip to get your closest ally out. And she just had tunnel vision. She had tunnel vision on Savannah for the last 3 episodes, even though Savannah had immunity the last 2, when Savannah is the least likely to win of that core group of 3. So that is what pushed me over to Sage instead of Christina.
You do make a good point. I'll give Sage a dishonorable mention.
Yep. And also, spoilers for my jank down, but Sage can no longer win the game.
Spoilers for my rank down. Yes, Sage can no longer win the game, but to be fair, this was not her move. If she didn't vote out Jawan.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. If she'd led the charge against Jawan, I'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Oh yeah.
This is her plan failing and her ally going home, and it's all bad. But it wasn't her doing. So, but before we spoil all of our rank downs, let's get into who is going next. Josh, who's going next?
Yeah, this is interesting. We still have the core three, and we still have Steven, Christina, and Sage on the other side. So then that leaves Sophie S in the middle. Is Sophie S going to stick with the group of three that she was with this episode, or is something else going to happen? And I think that something else is going to happen. I think that Sage is going to be a little bit bitter here, and much like she likes to narrow focus on someone like Savannah, I think that she's going to narrow focus on Sophie. And I think that she's going to want to get her revenge. And I think the other group of three is going to be able to oblige. And I think that Sophie S goes home here.
Okay. I could see that. In the next time on Survivor, we were teased a little bit with maybe Sophie B turning on Rizzo and Savannah. So that's not going to happen. We're also teased that Sage is really mad at Sophie S and maybe she'll target her. Okay, so that's not going to happen. So I think what's going to happen is the next, massive threat that everyone can safely get out goes, and we're going to lose Steven.
That's fair.
Hibicki's Law.
Unfortunately, Hibicki's Law eliminated 3 out of 7.
So Hibicki's Law gave me 3 people that I don't think is going home. Narrows my options down a little bit.
Makes it easy for you if you're going to really live and die by the theory.
And you know what? I if it's got a 90% success rate, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do rank downs and jank downs. But first off, we got to check in with the rank downs from last week.
Yeah, last week, once again, thank you for submitting. We had a lot of alignment here. It was a pretty definitive list. So the listeners had Steven remaining in the top spot, followed by Rizzo remaining in spot number 2. But then they swapped Savannah and Sophie B. So Savannah is now in 3rd for the listeners, followed by Sophie B in 4th. Then they had Sage. And then they had Jawan leapfrogging Sophie S, which was, I thought, a little bit interesting, followed by finally Christina in last, who has been, the one big agreement that I think everyone has.
Okay, send your rank downs for this episode. We'll see if anything changes. We have no dank downs tonight. Can't do the dank downs, but
dank downs.
We can rank it up and jank it up. I'll go first with my rank down. So I have Rizzo in the top spot, followed by Sophie S. I'm way higher on Sophie S than anybody else. I don't think she's going to win, but I think if the game ended today, she absolutely could destroy. Steven 3rd, Sophie B 4th, Savannah, Sage, Christina are my bottom 3. So I don't think Sage or Christina can win because Jawan's out now. Surprise final 2, Sage wins. So I think Savannah, Sage, and Christina need to find a way to work together. Good luck.
All right. And then for me, I really only had one change. So I'm keeping Sophie B at the top. I think that she has a really good argument if she gets to the end. And I'm keeping Rizzo in 2nd and Steven in 3rd. Notably, I think it's the 3 of them at the top and then a pretty big gap after that. So 4th place, I have Savannah, followed by Sophie S, then Sage, and then Christina. So Sage and Christina are my 2 who can't win. And I did have Savannah leapfrogging Sophie S here in this episode.
That doesn't make any sense.
How does that not make any sense? Sophie S just went against the people who thought that, she was going to go with. So Savannah, nothing new is happening here. So I think more than anything, Sophie S might have lost spots.
She controlled this vote.
I don't care. I don't care if she controlled this vote.
I don't understand you at all.
I just think that, at the end of the day, let's say it's Savannah, Sophie, and Christina at the end. I think that Savannah would be able to win that. If she is the one that is there out of that core group of 3, I think that Savannah could win. I think she has to go alone, though.
Incorrect.
That's fine. We'll see what Derek says. He'll send us his dank downs, and we'll post them. As usual, we post usually our Danger Zone and Power Rankings together.
And we'll once Derek gives us his best and worst and whatnot, we can post those too.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, Survivor Pool. Derek and I are out of this thing, so it's just you. It's your show. You have the floor.
Oh, it's so nice, so freeing. Yes. So to recap, I picked Steven this week, and Steven survived. So I only have one person left. And actually, no, before I go on to that, I would like to mention, congratulations to all of our listeners who are still in it. No one picked Jawan this week. So great job by all of our listeners. I think we're going to have some casualties next week, just because people are running out. But I said the same thing last week, so I could be wrong. As for myself, I have one person left, the one and only Rizgod, Rizgod, baby. So I'm picking Rizzo. He's my last one. It is what it is. You know, maybe the rest of the listeners will all lose next week and I'll win, and I'll make it farther than them. But we'll just have to stay tuned to find out.
Yeah, and if everyone, people will lose, but if the rest, the survivors all use their last person and there's still people alive, then we reset.
Yep.
So we'll see. Stay tuned.
Yeah, that a lot of interesting stuff would have to happen to have that many people tie. So, but we'll see. If you're still in it, you know who you are. Keep submitting.
Please and thank you. Please beat Josh. He deserves it.
I do.
Okay, so last thing we gotta get into is we had some comments and questions come in. So let's get into those.
All right. Fairway Dave on Spotify says that on Prop's podcast, which I'm behind on this season. I haven't been listening super frequently. I'll catch up. But on Prop's podcast, he gave his Mount Rushmore of players. Who would be your Mount Rushmore of new era players? Oh, interesting. I completely missed the fact that he mentioned new era players. I was thinking of just Mount Rushmore total, because we have talked about, I think, Mount Rushmore players in a previous episode. I don't remember which one. I don't know if we've talked about new era, though.
I'm going to say Rachel, D, Jam Jam, and Marianne.
Ooh, Marianne.
Yeah, because I think it's got to be winners.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And for context, Jeff said his Mount Rushmore was Sandra, Boston Rob, Tony, and Parvati, which I think is a pretty standard for.
I think you could swap. You could maybe swap Kyle and Marianne, but I liked Marianne's win more than Kyle's win, so I'm going to put Marianne in there.
Yeah, I think it's got to be winners.
Gabler.
Yeah, not Gabler. I think D definitely is up there. I think D and Kyle need to be up there. So I'm for sure going with the two of them. God,
you have to put Rachel up there. You have to.
Yeah, I have to put Rachel up there too. I don't want to do the same list as you.
But it's the right list. And I didn't have Kyle on mine. I had Marianne.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So I think I'm gonna go with the same as you, but I'm gonna swap out Marianne with Kyle.
Okay.
I think.
Good question. Thanks for Dave.
Felicia on Spotify says, in honor of Thanksgiving, how would you categorize each of the remaining players as Thanksgiving dishes? Feel free to pick for each other too. And we have 7 people left here. I don't know how we do this.
I have no idea how to do that at all. I don't know what that means. Like, turkey, who is turkey? Who is mashed potatoes? I have no idea. That's a very creative question. I'll try and think of one. I don't think I can do everybody, but I'll think of one.
I don't know why, but I think like Rizzo just seems like he'd be like a cheesy mashed potatoes like type of person. Sage, maybe since she talks about like farts and stuff so much, maybe she needs to be like Brussels sprouts.
Sure. Christina seems like a sweet person, so maybe she's the pumpkin pie.
Or sweet potatoes, maybe.
Sure. There we go.
Steven seems like the turkey guy.
He did kill the chicken, and
there you go. Okay, so we're giving Steven turkey, and then Sophie S and Savannah are the other two, and Sophie B.
Savannah is the cranberries because I don't like either one. That's mean. That's not even true.
Sophie B, I'm gonna give her like really nice fluffy dinner rolls.
Sure.
Not like store-bought ones. I'm saying like homemade,
yeah,
warm but buttery ones. And then Sophie S, green bean casserole.
Thanks for the question, Felicia. That was an interesting one.
It's an interesting one. I'm sure Derek would have been able to come up with stuff. And then Jacob on Spotify as well says, in regards to Christina's reward giveaways, there's a scenario where you'd want to give away your reward to get on the beach with the other team to talk strategy or prevent talk. Because our big thing last week, I know, was essentially you don't want to do this. You don't want to have a target on your back for any reason.
There's like, I see where you're coming from with this question, but I just think you want to get the reward. It helps you. And just giving it up puts such a target on your back, and people are going to have an opportunity to talk when you're not around. You're going to get hauled away for confessionals and whatnot. So I take the reward.
Yeah. If people want to talk behind the back, they're going to find a way.
Yep.
Gabble Gabble is our next one on Spotify. Rizzo continuing to not play his idol is impressive. Counts for here as well in this episode. What strategies are best to flush an idol? For Rizzo's idol specifically, I think what we talked about last episode might have been the best, where it's just go for it. As long as you're not the backup vote, commit to just putting all the votes on him. Maybe have one hinky vote out there, but stop just playing around with it and get it out of the game. Otherwise, he's going to see it as an opportunity to continue to just carry it on to the next episode.
I've coined this the enemy of the state strategy in some of our rewinds. Basically, if you've seen the movie Enemy of the State, Will Smith is the main character of that movie, and he saves the day, basically. Minor spoilers. It's from 2001 or maybe even the 90s. I can't remember. It's an older movie, so it's your fault you haven't seen it. It's very good. He gets two groups of people who are after him, the government and the mob, to basically all shoot each other. He plays them off against each other and takes them all out when they're not looking at him. So the enemy of the state strategy is the way to go. You get Rizzo to target one person in the other group, and you get the other group to target Rizzo. So either Rizzo goes home with the idol in his pocket, or he plays it and takes out somebody in the other group. Either way, it's not you. So enemy of the state strategy is the way to go.
Especially now, it's so hard to split the votes when you're in this limited amount of people. All right, last question. This from Dawson. Dawson asks, what's something you could dish out endless facts on in a Survivor challenge, a la Steven with his space facts? Specifically, you can't say Survivor.
I have so many subjects I could do this on. I have this special talent to memorize absolutely useless crap that I never need in any aspect of my life. It's not worth anything, but it would be helpful in this challenge because I could just do it on just about any subject. But horror movies would be one. I could talk about movies ad nauseum. The Mario, the deep mythos of the Mario lore. Yeah, I could yammer on about just about anything.
And I'm almost the exact opposite, where I have just a garbage memory. So it's really hard for me to do just randomly talk with facts about things. I'm a terrible fun fact person because I can't remember the fun facts. I like them, but I can't remember them. So I don't know. I'm going to go with something with sports. I'm a huge sports guy. So I'd probably talk as much as I can about all the failures of Minnesota sports.
That's a good one. And what's funny is I have a horrible memory for sports stuff. I never remember any sports stuff ever. One I would really like to do, I could go do a massive deep dive into all of the strategy to win Mario Party, every single version of Mario Party. That I could give a lecture on that. Like if I ever taught a class on how to play Mario Party, I could do it. Really useful skill. Okay, well, thank you all for your questions. Appreciate it a lot. Josh, social media.
Yeah, go ahead and follow us wherever you would like at Castaway Pod. We have a website, which is thecastawayconsultants.com. Videos on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, if you want to check those out there. And I would say most importantly, go ahead and keep engaging on Spotify. It's been a really fun time seeing everyone's engagements in our comment section on Spotify. People's lank downs, people calling them whatever, mank downs, fank downs, whatever it might be. So keep going with that. Keep going with questions. All that's been super fun. And once again, just, thank you for everything.
Thank you very much. It's Thanksgiving tomorrow. You're listening to this on Friday probably. So after Thanksgiving, we're thankful for you, listeners.
Absolutely.
All right, Josh, anything else?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm good.
This has been the Castaway Consultants. Got nothing else for you.
Good night.